Hey, in this video, I'm going to talk about the only self-help technique that works that nobody wants to hear. Now, this video is for you if you've tried affirmations, meditation, visualization, journaling, therapy, various healing modalities, the whole gamut of self-help techniques. If you've been on that kind of roller coaster ride of trying to fix, change, and improve your life, but you still feel like there's something missing. There's some fundamental weak link that you can't quite solve. And this whole self help journey sometimes feels like it's just like this eternal carrot that's being dangled in front of you, full of promise and potential, but it just never seems to really fully click for you. What I'm about to share should be pretty revelatory, pretty life changing. It certainly was the missing link for me and for many of the clients that I've worked with. So let's get right into it. Here's the main problem you're likely facing. All of the techniques out there, they tend to reinforce the assumption that there is a solid, separate self. So, to dig deeper into this, there is an I in there that needs to be fixed, changed, or improved, or it needs to figure itself out. Now, this is generally why we feel motivated to try things like meditation or visualization practices, because we assume that there is this real concrete self in there that has these flaws or these things that need to be changed or transformed or healed, and we go into it with that assumption. Now, like I said, this is why we turn to these techniques to improve the self that believes it needs improving. Now, there is nothing wrong inherently with using techniques. It's just that they can easily become forms of spiritual materialism where they are strengthening the very thing that is blocking us from true freedom. And this can feel like kind of a subtle distinction here. And I can see in my experience and having been in a variety of spiritual communities and worked with just a ton of people in a coaching context, this tends to be the biggest block as they progress further in their spiritual path and their self-help journey. It's carrying around this subtle false assumption that there is something in there that they need to technique their way out of, to improve, to fix, to heal from. Now, what really works here is not a technique per se, but it's really a new way of perceiving who you are. So here's the main shift. What you can do is start to experiment with this, start to see yourself as infinite intelligence shaping into the appearance of a solid, separate self. So, what you're doing here is you're expanding your reference point of your awareness from there's an I in here that needs to meditate, that needs to kind of get healed and fix itself. You're shifting out of that kind of localized, limited way of seeing yourself into you are this vast, infinite awareness that is shaping into the appearance of being this solid, separate self. That may seem like a subtle shift, but it's actually incredibly profound and it changes everything in your life. It changes the entire basis that you see your life through, the way that you perceive who you are. It shifts you out of limiting beliefs. It's the number one thing that works when it comes to actually healing yourself and becoming free in your life. So, to dig deeper into this, your thoughts, your feelings, your life circumstances, they are all being shaped by this intelligence. Everything that your five senses can perceive and integrate is all being shaped behind the scenes by this incredibly powerful infinite intelligence. Now, we could get lost in semantics here. There are a lot of different terms for this. Some people might call it God or the universe, the absolute. I'm not so much concerned with what terminology you give it, whatever tends to resonate with you. But the deeper you dig into your own spiritual path, and especially when you really start to realize how futile it is trying so hard to fix your life, to plan, and lay your agendas over reality, and get to a place of finally feeling whole and centered, you realize the ultimate futility of all that. Like your solid separate self just cannot pull that off. Your mind cannot really pull that off. That's what tends to open up this perspective. And it's usually not random that you find your way to a video like this because chances are you've probably come up against that wall in your own life. That's why you're here. You've realized that your own kind of the efforts of your separate self to get this all dialed in and figured out, it's just not working out as well as you would have hoped. And you've hit that wall of what I would call existential futility. On the other side of that wall is what I call grace, but it can only come through the practice of surrender and letting go. So, you are a unique character in a unique story created by this intelligence to play a fun game of pretending to be limited, flawed, and in need of improvement. This tends to be the initial journey of our life experience where our limitations get locked in, they feel super real and compelling. We pretty much fully buy into the belief that, yep, I'm this separate self who's limited and flawed, and I've made all these mistakes in life, and that's just the way it is. But the actual truth of it is that you are just a character in a story created by this intelligence to go through this fun journey of transitioning into the heroic version of yourself. So we have to lock in our limitations and play this kind of victim role to life and feel separate in order to make life this really kind of juicy and interesting game where we figure out for ourselves what it really means to transition into this expansive, heroic version of who we really are. Now, when we start to see life in this way, we realize that innate wholeness and perfection lies right at the heart of all of our mistakes, flaws, and weaknesses. So, in an ultimate context, these are all illusions. Your mistakes, flaws, weaknesses, everything that you've done wrong in your life that makes you feel limited, it's all highly compelling, illusory material. It's not real in the way that you think it is. And in this sense, there really is nothing that needs to be fixed, changed, or improved about yourself. So, this change in perception starts on the idea or concept level, you could say. Normally, our mind has to kind of mull this over. Our conscious mind has to kind of integrate this and analyze it and kind of sit with this as an idea. But the more we do that and we expose ourselves to teachings like this through sheer repetition and through realizing, like I said, the futility of trying to figure life out as a separate solid self, what happens is this goes from an idea and concept into consciousness, into your body. It opens up your heart. And that is where the real magic happens. That's where the real power is. This becomes your new default setting from which you cannot deviate anymore. It's not like it's on and off, on and off. This becomes the backdrop of your reality. It becomes the moment to moment experience that you have of yourself is that you are an infinite character playing this fun game of learning how to expand into who you really are. So you cannot force this. You can't really technique your way there, and you can't think your way there. It comes from a different place. And I know, trust me, I know firsthand how frustrating that can be to feel like, well, what do I do with this then? If I as the separate self don't have control over this, and all of my attempts to like fix myself or figure this stuff out, all of that's more or less coming from a diluted place. How do I do this, right? That's a very natural question that the mind ponders. But please realize that question itself is also coming from the false assumption that there's a separate self in there that needs to understand this. You're learning how to let go of the control in all ways, let go even of needing to know that answer. And this is the new kind of territory of uncertainty you're learning how to kind of rest your consciousness in. What you can do is start to really play with intention in your life in this way. You can send out a powerful signal to the universe just through proclaiming it and seeing yourself in this way that you are ready to let go of the need for control and that you have the courage to shed off the false separate self. So the blunt, harsh truth is that most humans, simply put, are not ready for this. They are very comfortable living lives based on false assumptions and assuming that their solid, separate self is real, and that's just the way that they flow through life. There's nothing at all wrong with that. There's nothing to judge in that. That just tends to be the normal human experience. It's fairly rare, in my experience, to see people that truly are ready to send out this kind of signal to life. Why? Because it's scary to that part of us that thinks it's real, that thinks it's in control of all this. It can be terrifying. It can be existentially very uncomfortable to kind of settle into this. And that to me is the rite of passage that you're looking to access if you really want to kind of manifest at a higher level, to get into higher levels of consciousness and flow state, to experience true abundance. This is the rite of passage that we have to go through. This is the literal portal into the abundance you've been looking for. Now, as long as the assumption that your separate sense of self is real, as long as that assumption is intact, there's no technique you can use that will have much power. What you'll notice, you've probably already seen this, is that you'll get mixed results, you'll get conflicting messages, and you'll usually be left feeling disappointed. And this was absolutely my experience for a number of years when I was on the kind of self-help, law of attraction, manifestation path. Is I was putting everything into learning how to manifest, how to meditate, focus on what I really wanted, let go of limiting beliefs. But man, what a roller coaster. Sometimes I felt like I was having breakthroughs. A lot of the times I felt like nothing was happening and I was just spinning my wheels. And it wasn't until I came up against this wall of what I would call existential futility. And I really had to kind of dig deep into my consciousness and kind of clarify what I wanted out of my life and who I really was, that these kinds of realizations started to sink in at a much deeper level. And of course, the irony is I wasn't doing any of that. That was just the story that I, as the Kevin character, came here to play out. That's the way it unfolded based on the way infinite intelligence wrote my story and shaped into my life experience. So if you'd like more training on how to let go of the separate self so you can experience true abundance, go ahead and leave a comment under this video saying yes, and I'll send you over another video that dives deeper into this topic. I'm really passionate about helping people that are kind of at this specific place in their spiritual journey where they can just sense intuitively something is off, something isn't quite right. They've integrated a lot of teachings, they've done all the workshops, they've worked with the gurus, they've tried all the techniques, but something is still missing. And a lot of people are kind of quietly carrying around this very deep suffering of feeling like, F it, man, it's all hopeless. It's all just futile. But I promise you, that futility is getting you really, really close to the actual truth of your situation. And I would love to help guide you through that, around that, or over that wall that you're noticing, and into what I call grace and true abundance. So leave a comment saying yes if you'd like more content on this, and I will hook you up with another video to take this deeper for you. All right, thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe and like the video. I'll talk to you soon.